Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Great to have you back here today. Looking forward to getting into our Wellness and Weight Loss Wednesday show, where the topic of the day are the 8 foods that I always keep in my kitchen. Now, these are 8 foods that are super high in antioxidants, but they're also delicious and they're easy to keep. So that's one of the things that's really important, is that you cannot make nutrition super difficult. I tell people, whether they're trying to get well, lose weight, or get into a new health and wellness-based program, whether they're trying to transform their body or their overall health, you need to keep things simple in the beginning. Once you make simple a part of your everyday routine, and once you make easy a part of your new healthy lifestyle, then you can begin to experiment. So many people go wrong because they want these elaborate cookbooks and recipes so they can learn all these new recipes and all these new experiments to add into their life, when really all you want is to keep things super simple. And that is one of the biggest secrets to success. Now, I could talk about this on a Mindset and Motivation Monday, but honestly, whatever you're trying to achieve in life is that you can't focus on a dozen, 24 different parameters all at once. You need to focus on what really matters. And so if we have someone doing the CBO protocol, we're not telling you how many calories. We're saying, split your plate like this, about this many cups of this. If you're still hungry, okay, we'll get a little bit more. That's what we're looking at. Same for weight loss. We're saying, here's the shopping list. But now, if you need to lose additional weight, here's what we do. But we're never changing the foods. We're not changing these recipes. We're keeping things simple. About 4 ingredients per meal. That's pretty much all that we do. And that's all that I've done for a very long time. And again, if you want to get, a little bit more gourmet in how you're cooking, then good for you. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I just know that the majority of people that I work with, they want simple. They're trying to cook for their whole family. They might have to make a couple substitutions here or there. They don't want to spend an hour of prep and then an hour of cooking. They want something that's easy to prep within minutes. And if there's cook time, okay, 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes. So that's what I look at overall when trying to put together meals, meal plan templates, and then also for myself. And here's the other thing that I like to do. These 8 foods that I'm going to talk about today, it's not the only 8 foods that I eat. But I eat these ones pretty much on a daily basis. And here's why. That I know that most of the restaurants, quick grab-and-go lunch places, Whole Foods, Sprouts, any of these to-go bars where you can kind of make your own hot food or a salad, whatever you'd like to make, that I know they're going to have them. And so when I go in, I don't have to be dazzled by the 100 to 200 foods that they have there for me to select. What I want is I go in, and I want to explain today, because it's not just about 8 foods today. I want to talk about why I chose them, because there should always be a little bit of method behind it. There should be some science behind why you're choosing these foods and why you make them such a staple in your diet. Now, you might have your own. That's totally fine. But what I did is I looked at what are the foods that I have access to, the healthy foods, what are the healthy foods I have access to? What can be my go-to, my fail-safe? And then after that, great, whatever else I eat, I already know that I got these 8 delicious and healthy foods in. But they're also packed with antioxidants. This becomes even more important if you're not well, if you have a lot of inflammation, and it's leading to either weight gain, or it's leading to maybe even too much weight loss, or it's leading to poor health, poor energy, poor stamina, poor sleep, and you're aging faster, meaning like you see more wrinkles, you see the hair thinning, you see the body beginning to break down at a faster rate. All of that can have to do with inflammation and free radical damage. Well, now we come along with a diet plan that's going to supply you with a greater amount of antioxidants. That means your body won't oxidize as quickly. It won't rust from the inside out. And that rust we see is the wrinkles and kind of the spots on the skin and the thinning hair, the dry skin overall, and the elasticity starts to go as well in the skin, right? So the arms and maybe the stomach feels a little bit more flabby. It's hard to get it more toned, more tight. So this is what we want to look at. And I'm going to take you through the 8 foods, but I'm also going to share with you why right now. So again, I'm looking for high antioxidant foods, so that it might already give away what they're going to be, but I'm going to share them with you. Specific foods too, not just food groups. But antioxidants are essentially broken down into 3 major groups. Broken down into carotenoids, which we really just talk about in terms of a lot of higher vitamin A foods, sweet potatoes, orange peppers, carrots, etc. A lot of those orange and sometimes red colored vegetables and fruit. Another group is the allele or the allyl sulfides. And this is part of the allicin-based group. So typically garlic, onions, leeks, all the products in that family. These are used for whether it be cholesterol, great anti-inflammatories, etc. Pretty much the only time we don't do those, at least in higher dosages, is during the CBO protocol, where we are not looking to feed any gut bacteria. Because although garlic and onions are powerful antimicrobials, antibacterials, and antifungals, the fructans that come along with them can actually feed yeast, and they can feed some of the bacteria. So we're not saying that they're bad, but we're saying there's a time and a place for everything. And we simply don't add those in the first few weeks of our program as we're looking to wipe out before we begin to repopulate. And that's very important, and it works really, really well. And the third of the antioxidant groups, 3 major groups at least, because there are more, but these are the major ones, are called polyphenols. And that's what we're going to concentrate on today. So every time I do a podcast, I mention something and I take a little note. I said, okay, I haven't really spoken about this yet. And people might have questions on what that may be. So over the past, at least a couple months, I've been talking more about polyphenols. We know them as phenolic or phenols. And what I want to talk about today, what that means, where you get them from, to break down some of the mystery behind food biochemistry or nutritional biochemistry so you can see how to use it in your everyday life. So that's why I do recommend, as much as possible, go back, listen to the previous Cabral concepts, because they kind of all are intertwined. They build upon each other, and the more you listen to, the more you'll understand where I'm coming from. People always, they write in and say, oh, well, you didn't mention this when you talk about the parasympathetic nervous system, or talk about this, which is also good for regrowing the hair. And I say, no, it's true just because it's one episode, and one episode is only 20 minutes, 25 minutes. But, we've done a bunch of shows before, and we have mentioned that. And there are many great parts to health. So no one podcast could ever cover all of them. But if you go back to stephencabral.com/podcast, you'll be able to find a lot of those shows. So today is episode 1209. All of today's links will be at stephencabral.com/1209. So let's get into these polyphenols. So polyphenols are part of our antioxidants, right? So they're the third group we called of the antioxidants. And they're typically higher in the outer layers of any type of fruit or vegetable. So it's an antioxidant layer that kind of, think about this, like an apple. What do you think is going to be higher in antioxidants or polyphenols? The skin of the apple or the inner flesh of the apple? The skin, right? The skin is what's protecting the flesh from oxidizing. And when it oxidizes, what color does it turn? Well, it turns a brownish color, right? So that's how we know the apple is fresh. It's not brown on the inside. So now, again, with GMO and all the other things they're doing, they're making apples that don't actually turn brown. That's not a good thing. We want our food to mold. We want our food to rot, to go bad. That means it's living. We like that. We want to eat living foods, which will help us live longer as well. So again, you can look at that for any example. The skins, right? So like, what is a very high antioxidant fruit? You don't have to go any further than looking at something that has thicker skin or that's predominantly skin. And that's why wild blueberries, blackberries, any of your berries, cherries, are going to have a lot of antioxidants and also polyphenols because they have a nice thick skin. That's a good skin to flesh ratio, right, for a fruit. And that means they're going to have a lot of antioxidants. So that's a great thing. So what are some of these polyphenols? Well, we have flavones, flavonols, flavonones, isoflavones, anthocyanidins, the chalcones, and catechins. Those are all flavones or flavonoids. So flavonoids, we oftentimes think of those as what gives those beautiful pigments and color to the actual fruit and vegetables. I did a podcast previously on how to eat a rainbow, on basically why you should be eating a rainbow of foods every day and what all of the different colors mean. Meaning, like, you get different benefits from orange versus yellow versus green versus white versus blue and purple. So I'm going to see if we can find that podcast. We will link it up at stephencabral.com/1209. But of course, you can always search. You can just go to stephencabral.com/podcasts. And what I would search, I'll do it right now real quick and we'll see if we can come up with it, is I would just type in rainbow. I don't think I've done a ton of podcasts on that, but anytime I write the word rainbow, it will come up. And we'll see if I can find it. Eat the rainbow to lose weight and feel great. That is episode 495. There it is. So it works. So the search bar at stephencabral.com/podcasts is your search directory for all 1,209 podcasts to date. All right. So those flavonoids, a lot of them, especially we talk about the anthocyanidins all the time, and that's what's going to give that like that blue to the blueberry. So you really want to check those out. Really, really important, okay? And again, antioxidizing properties help us live longer, help to ward off cancer and ward off dis-ease in the body. Still beans is another one. Stilbenes, still beans. We find those predominantly, we know about them from what? Well, we know about them from red wine and the resveratrol in red wine, but that property really comes from the dark grapes themselves. Dark purple grapes, a lot more, with the seeds in them, a lot more powerful than those lighter green grapes that are basically translucent. Lignans. Lignans are another polyphenol, and we find these in more of our starches and legumes and seeds. Flax, probably the best well known for that, with especially whether it's flax or flax oil. Other items like cereal-based grains, certain fruits, algae, etc. So, and then just phenolic compounds, I'll just mention quickly phenolic acids. We find those in tea and coffee and blueberry and kiwi and cherries. So all of these things, why am I talking about them? Why are they so powerful before I give you the 8 foods that I eat every day right now? Here's why. They protect our body through the aging-based process. They protect us from even getting a deeper or darker or worse sunburn. They help with the ultraviolet radiation. They help with blood pressure. They help with blood sugar regulation. They help with cardiovascular inflammation. They help protect against cancer. They help overall at protecting the brain against brain aging-based diseases, such as dementia, Alzheimer's being the most prominent. So the last thing, that I'll say is, and I talk about this quite a bit, if you can fight off, if you can defend against cardiovascular issues for heart attacks, blood pressure and strokes, blood sugar dysregulation, and cancer, unless you get into an accident or there's just, a very rare instance in terms of dis-ease in the body, you've missed out on more than 60%, 66%. I've done a bunch of podcasts on this, on all of the top causes for mortality. And not only that, you're going to have a better quality of life. So this is why food is so important. There's nothing else that can provide this. Talked about saunas, amazingly beneficial. Talked about exercise, amazingly beneficial. Sleep, all of these different things. But you have to get the food right. The food is very, very important because it's so easy to make it work for you rather than against you. And my thing is this, it's not difficult. I get a little worried and a little upset sometimes at a lot of the nutrition gurus out there because they're trying to make things difficult for you. They're trying to exclude food groups. They're trying to have you, always testing yourself to see if it's, in terms of like, well, what are your ketones at? What's this at? What's that at? You have to go back to a foundational level of healthy eating that our ancestors would have really done, which is eat colorful, bright-looking food that's available in nature. And since humans would have at least started and thrived around the equator and only moved away for various reasons, most of those foods would have been plentiful, and there would have been plenty of fruit and vegetables. Now, the further north you get, or very, very south, it gets cold. Not as easy to grow fruit. Here in Boston, we don't have too much fruit growing in December and January, unless you have a greenhouse. So these are important things to look at. Doesn't mean we shouldn't be eating them, but it means our way of life is pretty unnatural. Humans would never be able to survive outside, not in the winter. You just wouldn't. You need shelter. You can't survive like animals would be able to survive. It's just not going to happen. We're not built for that. We're not built to be in 0-degree weather. It's just not happening. And again, just if you look at us, just how we're presently constituted, we just don't have the fur coat. We're not going to be able to survive. Yes, you'd have to kill other animals and, put the hides on yourself. But again, like that, you're not built then for that climate. Now, again, I'm talking from someone in Boston. So what do I do? Well, I have a home, right? And it's protecting me from the outside. And that means that, okay, it's not 10 degrees outside. I can still sip on a smoothie in here. It's pretty warm in my house. I can let it warm up a little bit. I could do those things, right? Because right now, in my house, 70 degrees. It's pretty warm. Feels good. So again, we're not always living exactly how we should, but we know that a natural human diet would have included a lot of vegetation. Now, of course, there would be certain things in season. If you can eat in season, even better. Absolutely even better. From May through November, we have a great co-op that we're a part of around here in Boston, and great farm, and we get whatever's local, and we get whatever's fresh right then. When we go to Maine, same exact thing. A lot of great things to choose from. And then you go from late November through April, and there isn't that, right? Things are just coming to life here in New England and in Boston. So now that we know that these high antioxidant foods are helping to protect us from the aging process, from dis-ease of both body and brain, and they help us maintain a healthy weight, let's go through 8 that I absolutely keep in my house, and I eat at lunch pretty much every day. All right? So I'm going to make this simple. I'm going to keep this list right here, and then you're going to be able to create your own, kind of your own go-to. It's always a nice thing to just say, hey, when in doubt, I have this. So the first thing I need to say is if I don't want to be eating animal protein or fish or eggs all day long at all 3 meals, is there a simple, viable vegan protein, not animal-based, that I can go to? And I discovered that it wasn't that long ago. I mean, like in the grand scheme of things, I think it was probably 7 years ago that I discovered hemp hearts. And hemp hearts for me, it's not hemp seeds. They're very different, actually. They're very different. They come from the same thing. But the hemp heart has already basically been sprouted. It's already been popped open. And it allows for super easy digestibility. Because a whole flax seed or a whole hemp seed is not easy to digest. And I don't necessarily recommend those unless you've ground them up. Because you're not going to get a lot of benefit. You're not going to break them down as much. So you can freshly grind them, or you can just have them ground, make sure they're not oxidized, and that's fine. But hemp hearts, easy. Popped open, easy to consume. They do say to refrigerate them. I keep mine in my drawer right here at work, and I can go down and I can get a simple Buddha-type bowl. If you haven't had a Buddha bowl before, you can do it with rice, or you can do it with quinoa, or none of those things, and then just a bunch of veggies chopped up on top. Really, really nice. And then, since I want to add a little bit of protein to that, I could just put 3 tablespoons of hemp hearts right on there. Easy. Done. So hemp hearts, plant-based food, still high in antioxidants and good healthy fats, 3, 6, and 9s. Super easy to do, and it allows me to be vegan up until dinner, and then I can decide to have meat if I want, fish if I want, eggs if I want, although I only do eggs once a week, or another vegan dinner. And I could do that. Super easy, but it gives me that choice. The second one is this. I'm giving you my good fats right up front, my 3 good fats that I'm always using. Cold pressed, first pressed, organic, single source olive oil. And I know that's a mouthful, but here's what it is. Organic, cold pressed means not heat extracted. First pressed, which means it's the freshest olives. And single source, so it's not a blended olive oil. Always have fresh olive oil. Do not buy the monster liter bottles. Buy small bottles of olive oil that you will go through every week to 2 weeks. I know it's going to cost a little bit more, but the olive oil will not be oxidized. That means you don't get that free radical damage in your body. So I want you to buy smaller bottles, dark bottles, organic, cold pressed, first pressed, single sourced. Phenomenal. One of my favorites. And I use olive oil like people would drink wine. Like, I don't know a lot about wine, but I do know a good amount about olive oil. And I try different ones. I try this one from Spain, this one from Greece, this one from Italy. And I try different ones, and I'm like, oh, this one has, you can feel like the tannins and a little bit of that, the more polyphenols, the more it burns the back of the throat. You get more of that bite. Now, again, some people might not like that, but that bite typically comes from those super high antioxidants. So you want to find different ones. You can do olive oil tastings. It can actually be quite fun to do these types of things. So I do recommend that. Get into a good olive oil. All right, the next one is this, avocados. Avocados is the last one on my list for my healthy fats because I want my healthy fats. I don't go overboard on healthy fats, but I really want those in my diet because they provide good calories, good fuel source, and they keep me satiated. So avocados, typically I have a half an avocado 4 or 5 days a week. And that is what I'm having at lunch. So sometimes I get a second one, meaning if I've come home and let's say we're doing tacos that night and there's guacamole. Well, that's avocado. So I'll have more avocado. I'm not planning that, but great. No problem at all. So this is one we see come up every once in a while on a food sensitivity test. And that's why if you haven't done a food sensitivity test yet, I can't recommend it enough. From an IgG perspective, because you'd never know. An IgG reaction is not bloating, gas, hives, headache, etc. It could be a headache, but it could be just overall inflammation and the other issues that happen a day or two later after eating the food. Joint pain, brain fog, etc. So I do recommend those. Those are my 3 go-to healthy fats. And they're easy. You can keep them right at home and you're good to go. Your avocados, you can buy them in different stages. That's what I like to do. Some are ready. They're ripe right away. And some are a little bit more firm, where they won't be ripe for a couple days. So now I have some that are ready to eat, and that some, they won't be ready for a little bit. And that's what I do. I don't like rotten avocados. I don't believe in eating a lot of rotten-based food because you're getting, again, the mold or you're getting the oxidation. So I just throw it right out. I know some people say it's wasting, but I'm just not going to put it into my body. I'm just not. I'm not going to eat rotten food that could be cross-contaminated with molds or just have mold spores because it's natural. And then I put that in my body because I just do too much mold testing. I do too many organic acids tests as well. So those are things that we have to be a little bit leery of. And so that's why I don't do it. All right. But great monounsaturated fats, anti-cancer, great for the heart, great for the vascular system, good for the blood sugar. Highly recommend them. All right. Those are my first 3. Let's move on now. Okay. So next up is berries. And I could not leave blueberries off the list. So while blueberries are right up there, it goes back to the polyphenol content as well as, all of those antioxidants. Wild blueberries, why are they potentially greater than regular blueberries? Well, simply put, it's not that you can't eat regular blueberries. Of course you can, and those are great too. But wild blueberries, the smaller ones, thicker skin, and therefore have more polyphenols, which means they have more antioxidants, which they're going to help to squelch more free radical-based damage. So blueberries are one of my top go-to. I have those year-round. I'm getting them predominantly frozen, keeping them in my freezer for wild blueberries. And then while they're in season, I'm definitely getting wild blueberries, especially all of August and September up in Maine. So really, really great. We pick them, we go right up there, and you can just see they sit out there in the sun and they just bake, which is one of the reasons why nature created that thicker antioxidant-based skin to protect them also from the harsh sun that they may be sitting in as wild blueberries. So really great, but any berries, good. Again, like I want to say, if you love raspberries, go with raspberries. If you love cherries, cherries are one of my favorite too while they're in season. Cherries are absolutely phenomenal. Dark cherries, fantastic. You can go with blackberries. Any type of berries will typically be higher in antioxidants. So keep that as one of your go-to as well. If you get hungry mid-afternoon, berries can be a great snack. They're low glycemic. They're not going to spike the blood sugar. They're going to satiate a sweet tooth. Eat them slowly. Don't swallow them whole. And they can give you that little bit of sweet that you're looking for and keep you satiated. They're water-based. They're going to be hydrating. Can't recommend them enough. Okay, the other fruit that made the list today is apples. Last year, so this started with apple season around, again, September or so of last year, as me saying, so I typically, well, of course, I eat all different types of fruit. I love all different types of fruit. But we're out apple picking, we're getting apples, my girls are with me, and they're enjoying the apples, I'm enjoying the apple. Maybe it's just because we're out there, we're experiencing it, we're picking apples. But it was so hydrating, and it was almost like I'd never eaten an apple before. And when I ate it, I felt satiated. I didn't get highs and lows in blood sugar. It was thirst quenching. And I said, and I did a whole show on this, why apples. So go back. It was on a Friday review not too long ago. So check that out if you want, just at stephencabral.com/podcast. And I gave all the benefits to apples. So believe it or not, they actually have detoxifying potency within them, etc. Okay. So I've been adding one a day almost without fail. Now, a couple of days I've missed. I haven't had access to them, traveling, whatever. But every week I get a big batch of apples. My daughters eat them. We try to give them one even just to start the day. And then they're great for snacks as well. So I have mine, and I'm a huge advocate of an apple a day. Really, really important. Okay, broccoli. You knew broccoli was going to make the list. I have it almost every day for lunch. Just like the avocados, I have broccoli probably 5 days a week. And how much do I have? Well, about 2 cups. About 2 cups of broccoli. Very little stems, no stems almost at all. It's just the head of the broccoli, the sprouts. And so there's so many benefits to broccoli. But if we want to just look at one, and why I really started getting into broccoli about 6-7 years ago, was because of the sulforaphane. Once I started reading all of the studies around all the detoxification work I was doing, then I said, what foods are going to be highest in sulforaphane? And sure, you could look at cauliflower and Brussels sprouts and a few others. One, Brussels sprouts are hard to digest. They're not the easiest to digest for most people. Cauliflower, just harder to get, harder to cook down. That's it. And again, there are others out there. Broccoli, super easy to find pretty much anywhere. You can buy it frozen if you'd like. I prefer it fresh, but if you can get it frozen, you're still eating broccoli. Yes, the enzymes will be dead. It won't be as fresh, but you still get the sulforaphane, and you still get a lot of those antioxidant powers from it. And there's so much research. Again, you don't need me to give you all that research. You can simply do a search on sulforaphane or broccoli and cancer, broccoli and heart disease, broccoli and high blood pressure, and check out the research. It's remarkable. You don't have to ever take my word for it. All right, number 7 on the list is this: spinach. Spinach or dark leafy greens. Now, spinach is high in iron and B vitamins, etc. The only people that'll probably want to stay away from spinach are those people prone to kidney stones or prone to higher oxalates. So if you run an organic acids test and you have high oxalates, well, one, it's most likely from candida-based overgrowth, especially if you did have yeast and fungal markers on the lab show high. But just to be safe, you could cut down on your spinach and your rhubarb and on the other high oxalate-based foods. And you could simply go with another green that you like. Maybe you go with Swiss chard or rainbow chard or one of your other favorite greens. You can do that. So green leafies are great. You can cook them if you want to make them easier to digest. If you want to eat them raw during the warmer weather, more power to you as well. All right, the last one that makes my list today is Japanese yams. Now, I could have gone with sweet potatoes, could have gone with purple potatoes that I eat a lot, but my favorite, Japanese yams. They have a purple outer skin and a yellow inner flesh to the yam. And they're absolutely incredible. You really don't need to put anything on them. You can if you'd like, but if you were to make, well, you can just obviously make a baked Japanese yam, like a baked potato. Very, very easy. But you can make mashed Japanese yams, put a little bit of ghee in there, a little sea salt. It's unbelievable. Absolutely delicious. You could do a little olive oil instead. Sometimes I just do olive oil with it. A little bit of sea salt again. They taste sweet. They have a sweet taste to them. Absolutely incredible. You have to go easy because you could eat 2 or 3 of them, no problem at all. And so that's one of the ones that I always try to keep on hand. If they don't have Japanese yams, which they typically do, believe it or not, at Whole Foods, you could simply go with purple potatoes, like an Okinawan purple potato, super high in anthocyanins, yes, but also in antioxidants. That's one of those longevity-based foods. And then you could also simply go with yams if you wanted to, or a sweet potato. That would be great. Low glycemic, and they also have high in those carotenoids. So those are my 8 go-to, without a doubt. And you might say, well, don't you use your supplements as well? I use the daily nutritional support every day, and I use the daily fruit and vegetable blend as well. The daily nutritional support is my 15 grams of vegan hypoallergenic protein in the morning, has my daily detox factors, has my multivitamin, my minerals, my flax, other fiber in there as well. And the daily fruit and vegetable blend is 22 organic fruits, vegetables, superfoods. And it's just been juiced and dehydrated and put into a powder form, so it doesn't even have the sugar in it. And so, yes, I use both of those, but those are in addition to what I put in my smoothie, which will be my berries and coconut. I might put a little bit of that in there. And so that's what I'm doing. So it's still always whole food first. I tell people that all the time. It's whole food first. And then I make sure I keep all my bases covered by doing my daily foundational protocol, level 2 or level 3. And that keeps it easy for me. So then I know my breakfast is done with a smoothie. I add in some oatmeal typically as well on the side. And for lunch, well, what do I have? Well, right there. I have my hemp hearts. I have my avocado. I have my broccoli. Super easy to do. It might be sweet potatoes on the side. Might be some rice on the side. It's just easy. It makes lunch super simple. I keep my hemp hearts at my office. And then when I come home, we're just having a nice clean dinner. Some type of protein. Might be fish. Might be vegan-based. It's going to be some type of starch, like Japanese yams. And then it's going to be some veggies, whether it be some sprouts. I didn't talk about sprouts today, but that would be like your greens. It could be arugula. It could be more broccoli. It could be cauliflower. It could be mixed veggies. Super easy, and that is what allows me to keep my diet, like I was talking about in the beginning, simple, on point on a daily basis. I don't want to think about it, and I don't think that you should either. Really, unless your job is like a gourmet chef. But even then, when you're eating, you're cooking for other people, you just want to keep something simple. So keep your food simple. Every once in a while, you can make this beautiful gourmet dinner if you want, or maybe you save your special treats for when you go out, and that's typically what I do. Eat clean, eat simple, and I'm telling you right now, you will reap the benefits when you do this on a consistent basis. Hopefully this was helpful. I would love to hear from you in our private Facebook group at cabralsupportgroup.com or on Instagram. Let me know what your 8 foods are. What are you enjoying right now? What are your go-to that are powerful antioxidants or just health foods that you like to keep in your daily diet for the most part? Take care, everyone. Have a great day. And if this was helpful, please do feel free to pass it along to anyone else you believe it could serve. Thank you so much for just tuning into the show. And you are not going to believe this, or maybe you are, because it's happened now multiple times. We have once again been shut down from selling our highest quality CBD oil. The organically grown, the full spectrum, the third-party tested, all of that certificate of analysis up on the website. The best of the best is there. And we were shut down for 5 months previously. We got shut down again just last week, which is really disturbing in my opinion, since this is a product that is now helping tens of millions of people all over the world. And they can't get high-quality CBD oil. I know it's coming. I don't want to see it happen. But what we see is the government really beginning to control what we see as really beneficial nutritional supplements. My opinion, it shouldn't be this way. People should be allowed to choose. They should be able to get products that they want, especially since these are passing all state legal limits. There's virtually no THC in them. It's not marijuana. Yes, it comes from a cannabis plant, but that doesn't mean that it has the psychoactive effects. Anyway, I wanted to let you know we are shut down. But just like I said before, we will not let that stop us from getting you the highest quality CBD products in the world. And so if we can't sell it, if our payment processor will not allow us to process it, now we are working on getting a new one, hopefully in another 3-4 weeks or so. But if we can't sell it, we're going to give it away. We're going to make sure that we get this product in people's hands. So we did this many months ago. It was probably 6 months ago now, but we're going to do it again. So for a limited time, we only have 300 bottles in stock of our travel size. So when they're gone, they're gone. So we are giving away our travel size bottles. This is almost a $40 value. We're giving those bottles away free on a purchase of $199 or more. So anything at equilibriumnutrition.com, $199 or more, we will send you a $40 gift. It is our gift to you of the highest CBD oil, full spectrum, organically grown in the world. You will not see it in your shopping cart. You don't have to enter any codes. Anybody that orders while supplies last for those 300, we will keep it available, and then we will take it down. You won't see it on the website anymore at equilibriumnutrition.com. So you'll see a little banner for it, and then when that banner comes down, it's no longer available. So while supplies last, get your free bottle, your travel size bottle of CBD oil, which has 10 full servings of 25 milligrams. If you only want to use 10, well, then you get double the servings. It's completely up to you if you only want to use 10 milligrams. So get your bottle while supplies last over at equilibriumnutrition.com. And again, you can hear it in my voice. I'm not happy about being shut down again, but I promise you, made a promise that we will be able to get you one way or another the highest quality products in the world. Head on over to equilibriumnutrition.com for your free bottle while the supplies last. Take care. U.S. residents only, just to let you know. The world's governments do not let us ship this around the world. So U.S. only, head on over, equilibriumnutrition.com. Take care, everyone.